Pacific Airlines Flight 739 was moments away from departing San Francisco for New York. In the bustling terminal, passengers hurriedly made final adjustments before boarding. Among them was a 7-year-old girl with blonde hair and curious eyes, clutching her father's hand tightly. She wore a light blue dress, a soft contrast to the busy airport scene. Her father, a stern-looking man, appeared distant and absorbed, tapping away on his phone. Inside the aircraft, Daniel, a tall flight attendant known for his calm demeanor and warm smile, was overseeing the last-minute preparations for takeoff. He moved through the cabin, checking overhead compartments and ensuring passengers were settled. Passing by row 12, Daniel noticed the girl and her father settling into their seats. The girl met his gaze directly, her large eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and something deeper, perhaps a silent plea. Daniel smiled warmly at her before continuing his rounds, but a lingering sense that something wasn't quite right persisted. The cabin hummed with quiet chatter and the rustle of settling passengers. Daniel returned to the front of the plane to deliver the safety instructions. Glancing at the girl's father, who was now engrossed in his phone rather than attending to his daughter, Daniel felt a twinge of concern. The girl, however, appeared restless, her eyes darting around as if searching for an escape or an answer. As the cabin door sealed shut and the plane commenced its taxi onto the runway, Daniel found himself unable to shake thoughts of her. He had encountered many children during his flights, yet there was something about her that both intrigued and troubled him. With the aircraft airborne and stable, Daniel resolved to keep a watchful eye on row 12. What had initially seemed like a routine journey was unfolding into something far more intricate and unforeseen. Unbeknownst to him, the flight attendant stood at the precipice of a journey that would profoundly alter both his life and the girl's forever. As the plane cruised smoothly through the sky, Daniel embarked on his initial rounds through the cabin, offering beverages and snacks to passengers. Approaching row 12, he observed that the girl seemed increasingly unsettled. She scanned the surroundings with wide eyes, as though seeking something or someone amidst the monotony of the flight. Meanwhile, her father remained immersed in his phone, oblivious to his daughter's mounting agitation. When Daniel extended the tray of drinks, the girl seized the moment to approach him. Gently tugging at his uniform sleeve, she spoke in a soft, urgent tone. "Sir, can I talk to you?" Daniel knelt down to her eye level, offering a reassuring smile. "Of course, what's on your mind?" The girl cast a furtive glance at her father before confiding, "I'm scared. I don't want to be here." Her voice barely above a whisper, tears glistening in her eyes. Before Daniel could respond, the father glanced up, noticing the interaction with a cold stare. He promptly pulled his daughter back to her seat. "Don't bother the flight attendant, Emily," he stated firmly, his voice controlled. Daniel acknowledged with a nod and moved away, but his concern lingered. Continuing his rounds, he kept a vigilant eye on row 12. Something was clearly amiss. Determined to grasp the situation better, Daniel returned to his station and discreetly observed. Before long, he noticed Emily engaging in peculiar, subtle movements. She was making gestures with her hands, concealing them from her father's view. Daniel strained to decipher her signals but couldn't quite grasp their meaning. Intrigued and increasingly worried, he resolved to seek assistance. During the lull, Daniel retreated to the galley and beckoned one of his colleagues, Sarah. "Sarah, I need your take on something," he began, swiftly outlining the circumstances. Sarah frowned thoughtfully. She might be trying to convey something important. "You'll need to find out discreetly without alarming her father." Armed with Sarah's insight, Daniel returned to the aisle. Observing Emily's growing desperation and the urgency in her signals, he knew time was of the essence. He had to uncover what the girl was attempting to communicate before it escalated. Determined to aid Emily, Daniel devised a cautious plan. Equipping himself with a notepad and pen, he approached row 12 under the guise of taking drink orders. Coming near the girl, he swiftly penned a message. "Are you in danger?" Shielding the note from her father's view with his body, Daniel discreetly presented it to Emily. She glanced at the message, then met Daniel's eyes and gave a subtle nod of affirmation. That should have ran down Daniel's spine. He needed to understand more. Continuing his rounds through the aisle, he observed Emily making hand signals again, this time more distinctly. It took him a moment, but he eventually pieced together the letters she traced in the air. "Help," confirming his suspicions. Realizing the urgency, Daniel swiftly returned to the galley and asked Sarah to cover for him briefly. He then positioned himself near the restroom, waiting for an opportunity when Emily could slip away from her father's notice. After a tense few minutes, Emily managed to slip out and meet Daniel in the restroom. In the confined space, she finally opened up. "My dad, he did something bad. I'm scared to go with him, she confessed tearfully. Daniel reassured her, promising safety. Emily, I need details to help you. What exactly happened? He asked calmly. With tears streaming down her face, Emily whispered, he took me without my mom's permission. He said we're leaving and I'll never see her again. Please don't let him take me. Daniel's heart sank. He knew the situation was grave and required immediate action. He hugged Emily gently, promising to protect her. Returning to the cabin, Daniel discreetly briefed the pilot, who contacted authorities at the destination. Plans were made for police to meet the flight upon landing. Emily returned to her seat, and Daniel kept a vigilant watch as the flight continued. The unfolding drama heightened tension among passengers. As the flight progressed, Daniel maintained a vigilant watch over row 12, ensuring Emily's safety until they reached their destination. Her father remained absorbed in his phone, seemingly unaware of the unfolding drama. Daniel, determined to stay composed, began jotting down notes in his pad to appear occupied. He swiftly drafted a plan for the crew, outlining the imperative to discreetly monitor row 12 and safeguard the girl without arousing her father's suspicion. Tension mounted with each passing moment. The flight seemed interminable, and Daniel understood the gravity of any misstep that could endanger Emily further. Shouldering the weight of responsibility, he resolved not to falter. Mid-flight, unexpected turbulence jolted the plane. Passengers gripped their seats tightly, and Emily looked at Daniel with wide, fearful eyes. He offered a reassuring smile, striving to convey a sense of calm. Once the turbulence subsided, Daniel noticed Emily's father observing her more intently, sensing something awry. Aware of the growing suspicion, Daniel knew swift action was crucial. He leaned toward Sarah and murmured, "We need to maintain calm. Her father is getting suspicious." Sarah nodded, swiftly engaging nearby passengers to divert attention from any potential concerns. Returning to row 12, Daniel approached with a cup of juice for Emily. "Here you go, to help you feel better," he said gently, handing her the cup with a warm smile. Emily accepted it gratefully, offering a small smile in return. As Daniel moved away, a fleeting sense of relief washed over him, though he remained on high alert, prepared for any unforeseen developments. Approaching the cockpit once more, Daniel briefed the pilot on the urgent need for a swift and discreet disembarkation plan involving the presence of police. The ensuing hours were fraught with tension. Daniel and the crew operated seamlessly, masking their maneuvers within routine tasks. Each passing minute dragged, but their carefully laid plan was in motion. Despite the palpable danger, Daniel held on to hope that everything would resolve safely. As the flight approached its final destination, Emily grew visibly more anxious. Though her father remained preoccupied with his phone, he occasionally shot wary glances in her direction. Daniel knew time was of the essence. He had to proceed with caution. Turning to Sarah, who was busy serving coffee at the rear of the plane, Daniel spoke urgently, "Sarah, we need a strategy to separate Emily from her father upon landing. We can't afford to wait for the police. We have to act swiftly." Sarah paused, considering their options. "Let's use the disembarkation process as a distraction," she proposed. "I'll announce a quick exit due to a technical issue. That should scatter the passengers and give us an opportunity to move Emily away from him." Recognizing the effectiveness of Sarah's plan, Daniel nodded in agreement. He returned to monitoring row 12, maintaining a vigilant watch. As the plane initiated its descent, he discreetly made final preparations. "Emily, when we land, we need to move quickly, all right? Trust me, I'll take care of you," Daniel whispered urgently. Emily nodded, her expression a blend of fear and hope. Returning to his post, Daniel anxiously awaited the moment of landing. When the wheels touched down, relief washed over him, swiftly followed by a surge of adrenaline. The plan was unfolding. Sarah's announcement prompted passengers to disembark with more urgency than usual. Emily's father stood up, gripping her hand tightly. Moving swiftly, Daniel approached and said, "Sir, let me assist your daughter off the plane. It'll be quicker and safer for everyone." The father hesitated briefly, but the chaotic atmosphere led him to accept Daniel's offer. Taking Emily's hand, Daniel guided her towards the front of the aircraft, his heart racing with every step. He knew time was of the essence. Upon exiting, a team of undercover police officers posing as airport staff awaited them. Daniel handed Emily over to one of the officers, then turned back to the father, who was beginning to grasp the situation. "What's going on?" the father demanded, suspicion lacing his voice. Daniel remained composed, replying calmly, "We're ensuring everyone's safety, sir. Please come with me." The police swiftly apprehended Emily's father, explaining the gravity of the situation, while Daniel escorted the girl away. Emily glanced back at him, still apprehensive but visibly relieved to be away from her father. Watching Emily being led to safety, Daniel felt a wave of relief sweep over him. The most challenging part was behind them, yet there was still much to resolve. The revelations about Emily's father and his intentions had changed everything. Now, ensuring Emily's continued safety and seeing justice served were paramount. The controlled chaos of disembarkation gradually settled as passengers were directed towards the terminal. Daniel kept a vigilant eye as undercover police officers escorted Emily's father towards a secure area. Suddenly, realization dawned on the father, and he erupted in protest, attempting to break free and shouting angrily, "You can't do this. She's my daughter." Emily, hearing her father's outburst, instinctively sought refuge behind Daniel, who shielded her protectively. "Please remain calm, sir. The authorities will sort everything out," Daniel urged, striving to diffuse the escalating tension. But the father was unwilling to cooperate. Struggling fiercely, he managed to wrestle free from one officer's grip, advancing towards Emily with a furious expression. Around them, passengers began to step back, alarmed by the unfolding scene. Acting swiftly, Daniel positioned himself between the father and Emily. "Stop, let's not make things worse," he commanded firmly, his tone carrying authority. For a fleeting moment, the father hesitated, but his anger seemed uncontainable. He attempted to push past Daniel, but before he could reach Emily, the police swiftly intervened, wrestling him to the ground and applying handcuffs. "This is a mistake," he protested vehemently. "She's my daughter." As the commotion settled and Emily's father was led away, Daniel knelt beside Emily, who sobbed quietly. "You're safe now. Everything will be all right," he reassured her gently. Emily looked up at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and lingering fear. Daniel embraced her warmly, offering the comfort she desperately needed. He knew Emily was about to experience a whirlwind of emotions, her life forever changed. The police returned to speak with Daniel. "Thank you for your assistance. We'll take care of Emily and ensure her safety. You may need to provide a statement about what occurred during the flight," one of the officers informed him. Daniel nodded solemnly. "Of course, I'll cooperate fully." As the officers escorted Emily to a secure area, Daniel felt a wave of relief mingled with exhaustion. The situation had been intense and perilous, but he remained steadfast in the belief that he had done the right thing. He watched Emily disappear with the police, knowing there was still more to be done to secure her safety and seek justice. The encounter had been the most challenging of his career, yet also the most fulfilling. Daniel was preparing to leave the security area when an officer called out to him. "Sir, could you please join us? We need to gather a few more details," the officer requested politely but firmly. Daniel complied and was led into a room where Emily sat with a social worker. The girl appeared somewhat calmer, though fatigue and lingering fear were evident. The social worker gestured for Daniel to take a seat. "Emily has shared her account with us, but we would appreciate hearing your perspective as well," the social worker requested gently. Daniel nodded, recounting the unfolding events of the flight, starting from when he first noticed Emily's unusual behavior to the tense confrontation with her father. He described how Emily had discreetly signaled for help and outlined the crew's efforts to ensure her safety. Throughout Daniel's narration, Emily clung to the social worker's hand for reassurance. The officer diligently recorded every detail while the social worker interjected with clarifying questions. "Did you observe any other concerning behavior from the father during the flight?" inquired the social worker. Daniel paused to reflect. He appeared entirely disengaged from his daughter, completely absorbed in his phone. However, when he realized we were intervening, the look he gave Emily, it was unsettling. He seemed more irritated than worried. The officer completed his notes and thanked Daniel for his cooperation. As he prepared to leave, Emily spoke softly. "Daniel, thank you," she murmured, her eyes conveying deep gratitude. Daniel smiled warmly at her, overwhelmed with emotion. "You were incredibly brave, Emily. Everything will be all right now." Exiting the room, Daniel felt a sense of relief wash over him. But just as he began to believe the situation was under control, an alarm suddenly blared through the terminal. A flurry of activity erupted as people started running and shouting. "What's going on?" Daniel asked urgently, approaching one of the guards. There was an escape attempt. Emily's father tried to break free. The guard replied, visibly tense. Daniel's heart raced as he hurried back to the room where Emily was. Upon arrival, he found her safe in the company of the social worker and 2 officers. However, her father was nowhere to be seen. "We need to tighten security immediately," He must not get near her again, Daniel insisted, striving to maintain composure amid the chaos. Despite the tumult in the terminal, the police swiftly organized the search. After tense moments and an exhaustive effort, they eventually located Emily's father hiding in a restricted area. He was apprehended once more, this time with heightened security measures in place. With Emily's father securely detained and removed, Daniel exhaled deeply, feeling a profound sense of relief. Returning to the room, he found Emily surrounded by a team of professionals, social workers and child psychologists. "Emily, you're safe now," reassured one of the social workers with a gentle smile. "We're here to take care of you and ensure everything is okay." Emily looked at Daniel, still gripping his hand. There was an unspoken bond between them, a shared understanding of their harrowing experience. "Daniel, thank you for everything," she said softly, her gratitude palpable in her voice. Daniel smiled warmly, crouching down to Emily's eye level. "You were incredibly brave, Emily. Always remember that." As Emily was escorted away, Daniel felt a mix of satisfaction and exhaustion. He knew he had done everything possible to protect her. Observing Emily being led to safety, Daniel was approached by one of the officers. "You handled this admirably, Daniel. If you hadn't noticed the signs," the officer trailed off, his gratitude evident. "I just did what needed to be done," Daniel replied modestly. Later in the bustling terminal, Daniel spotted a woman rushing toward him. Her eyes brimmed with worry and tears. It was Emily's mother. Spotting her daughter, she hurried over, embracing Emily tightly. "Emily, my God, are you all right?" she choked out, overwhelmed with emotion. Emily held onto her mother, tears streaming down her face, but this time they were tears of relief and joy. "I'm okay, Mom. Daniel helped me." The mother looked at Daniel with profound gratitude. "Thank you, you saved my daughter," she expressed emotionally. Daniel nodded, deeply moved by the moment. "She's a remarkable girl. I'm grateful I could help." As mother and daughter reunited, Daniel felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Knowing Emily was back in her mother's care, he felt a weight lift off his shoulders. Despite the challenges they had faced, the situation had reached a positive resolution. Daniel walked toward the terminal exit, feeling the weight of the day gradually lifting off his shoulders. The night sky above was clear, and he took a deep breath, contemplating the events that had unfolded. Despite the challenges and dangers, the bravery of a young girl and the swift actions of a flight attendant had altered the course of her life. Leaving the airport, Daniel knew this experience would remain etched in his memory, a poignant reminder that even in the darkest moments, one could make a profound difference, bringing safety and hope to those in need. If you found this gripping and heartwarming story compelling, remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you won't miss any of our captivating narratives and can stay updated with our latest content. Hit the bell icon for notifications and share this video with your friends. They'll appreciate this emotional journey too. Let's continue uncovering more remarkable stories together.